334. David spares Saul's life. 25. And Samuel died, and all the Israelites were gathered together and mourned for him, and buried him in his grave at Ramtha. And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. 335. David meets Abigail. 2. And there was a man in Maon whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very wealthy. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats. And it came to pass that he sheared his sheep in Carmel. 3. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail, and she was a beautiful woman, and of a beautiful countenance. But the man Nabal was harsh and evil in his doings, like a dog. 4. And David heard in the wilderness that Nabal was shearing his sheep. 5. And David sent out 10 young men and said to the young men, Go up to Carmel, and go to Nabal, and greet him in my name. 6. And thus you shall say to him, who lives in prosperity, Peace be both to you and to your house. 7. Your shepherds were with us, and we did not harm them, and they did not miss anything at all, and they did not miss anything all the time they were in Carmel. 8. Ask your servants, and they will tell you. Now therefore let the young men find favor in your eyes, for we have come on a good day. When the sheep are shorn, the owner prepares a banquet, and strangers and wayfarers come to it. Give whatever you wish to your servants and to your son David. 9. And when David's young men came, they spoke to Nabal concerning, according to all the words in the name of David. 10. And Nabal answered David's servants and said, Who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants today who have broken away, every man from his master. 11. Shall I then take my bread, my water, my meat, that I have killed for my shearers, and give it to men whom I know not whence they are? 12. So David's young men turned about and came back and told David these words. 13. And David said to the men who were with him, Gird yourself, gird you on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword, and David also girded on his sword. And they went up after David, about 400 men, and 200 remained with the baggage. 14. But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out to the wilderness to bless our master, and he railed at them. 15. But the men were very good to us and did not hurt us, and neither have they caused us to miss anything all the time that we went with them. 16. And when we were in the wilderness, they were a wall to us, both by night and by day, and all the time we were with them tending the sheep. 17. Now therefore know and consider what you will do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household. And Nabal was with the shepherds. 18. Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves of bread, and 2 skins of wine, and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of parched wheat, and 100 cheeses, and 200 bunches of raisins, and laid them on asses. 19. And she said to the servants, Go on before me, behold, I come after you. But she did not tell her husband Nabal. 20. And as she was riding on the ass, and coming down by the covert of the mountain, behold, David and his men were coming up in her direction, and she met them. 21. Now David had said, Surely in vain we have guarded all that is this fellow has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missing of all that belonged to him, and he has rewarded us evil for good. 22. The Lord do so, and more also to his servant David, if I leave of all that belongs to him by morning any mature male. 23. And when Abigail saw David, she hastened and alighted from the ass and fell before David on her face and bowed herself to the ground. 336. David marries Abigail. 24. And fell at his feet and said, I beseech you, my lord, let this iniquity be upon me, my lord, and let your handmaid speak before you concerning this man Nabal. 25. For as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and his folly is with him. But I, your handmaid, did not see the young men whom my lord sent. 26. Now therefore, my lord, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, my lord, seeing the Lord has withholden you from coming to shed blood, now, my lord, let your enemies and those who seek to do evil to you be as Nabal. 27. And now this present which your handmaid has brought to my lord, let it be given to the young men that follow my lord. 28. Forgive this trespass of your handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make for my lord a sure house, because my lord is fighting the battle of the Lord, the battles of the Lord, and evil has not been found in you all your days. 29. Yet a man is resolved to pursue you and to seek your life, but the life of my lord is bound in the bundle of life with the Lord your God. But the lives of your enemies the Lord will shall throw out of a sling. 30. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord shall have done to my lord according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and shall have appointed you ruler over Israel. 31. That this shall not be a grief to you, nor an offense in your heart, to shed blood without cause. And when the Lord shall have dealt well with you, then remember your handmaid. And David said to Abigail, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who sent you this day to meet me. 33. And blessed be your advice, and blessed be you, who have kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and has spared my hands this day from shedding blood. 34. For indeed as the Lord God of Israel lives, who has restrained me from hurting you, if you had not made haste and come to meet me, surely there would not be left to Nabal by morning any mature male. 35. So David received of her hands that which she brought, and said to her, Go up in peace to your house. See, I have hearkened to your voice, and have accepted your person. 36. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in the house like the feast of a king, and Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunk. Wherefore she told him nothing, less or more, until the morning. 37. But it came to pass in the morning, when he had shaken off the effects of wine, that his wife told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became paralyzed. 38. And it came to pass about 10 days after that, the Lord smote Nabal, and he died. 39. And when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be the Lord, who has pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hands of Nabal, and has kept his servant from evil. For the Lord has returned the wickedness of Nabal upon his own head. And David sent and communed with Abigail to take her to him to wife. 40. And when the servants of David came to Abigail at Carmel, they spoke to her, saying, David has sent to us, saying, to take you to him to wife. 41. And she arose and bowed herself to face to the earth, and said, Behold, let your handmaid be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my lord. 42. And Abigail hastened and arose, and rode upon an ass with 5 of her maidens, who went after her. And she went to the messengers of David, and became his wife. 43. And David also took Ahinoam of Jezreel, and both of them became his wives. 44. But Saul had given Malchel, his daughter, David's wife, to Phalti, the son of Laish, who was of Galim. David spares Saul again. 337. Chapter 26. Then the Ziphites came to Saul at Gibeah, saying, Behold, David is riding himself at Gibeath Havilah, which is before the wilderness. 2. Then Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him, to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. 3. And Saul encamped at Gibeath Havilah, which is before the wilderness by the wayside. But David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him in the wilderness. 4. David therefore sent out spies and learned that Saul had come after him. 5. And David arose and came to the place where Saul was encamped. And David saw the place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the commander of Saul's army, was lying in the path, and the people were encamped round about him. 6. It's a Hittite. This is John. 6. Then David said to Ahimelech the Hittite, and to Abishai the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, saying, Who will go down with me to Saul's camp? And Abishai said, I will go down with you. 7. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul was asleep in the path, with his spear lying on the ground by his bedside, and Abner and the people lay round about him. 8. Then said Abishai to David, Your God has delivered your enemy into your hands this day. Now therefore let me smite him just once with his spear which is on the ground, and I will not smite him the second time. 9. But David said to Abishai, Destroy him not, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? 10. David said furthermore, As the Lord lives, the Lord shall smite him, or the day of his death shall come, or he will be smitten in battle and perish. 11. The Lord forbid that I should stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. But now take the spear that is by his bedside and the jug of water, and let us go. So David took the spear and the jug of water from Saul's bedside, and they went away, and no man saw it or knew it, neither awakened, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord had fallen upon them. 13. Then David went over to the other side from Saul, and stood on the top of the hill afar off, a great space being between them. 14. And David called to the king and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Will you not answer, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, Who are you that calls the king? 15. And David said to Abner, Are you not a valiant man? And who is like you in all Israel? Why then have you not guarded your lord the king? For there came in one of the people today to destroy your lord the king. 16. This thing that you have done is not good. As the Lord lives, you are worthy to die, because you have not guarded your master, the Lord's anointed. Now see where the king's spear is, and the jug of water that was at his bedside. 17. And Saul heard David's voice and said to him, Is this your voice, my son David? And David said, It is my voice, my lord, O king. 18. Then David said, Why does my lord pursue after his servant? For what have I done, or what evil is in my hands? 19. Now therefore let my lord the king hear the words of his servant. If the Lord has stirred you up against me, let us make an offering. For if it be of man, cursed be they before the Lord. For they have driven me out, that I should have no shelter in the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go, serve other gods. 20. Now therefore let not my blood fall to the earth afar off from the face of the Lord. For the king of Israel has come out to seek a flea, as one who pursues a partridge in a mountain. 21. Then Saul said to David, I have sinned. Return, my son David, for I will no more do you harm. Because my life was precious in your eyes this day, behold, I have played the fool, and have erred exceedingly. 3:38. David makes raids. 22. And David answered and said, Behold, the king's spear. Let one of the young men come over and take it. 23. The Lord renders to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness. For the Lord delivered you into my hands today, but I would not stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. 24. And behold, as your life was highly esteemed this day in my sight, so my life shall be highly esteemed in the sight of the Lord. 25. Then Saul said to David, Blessed be you, my son, for you have surely done great things, and also you have surely prevailed. So David went his way, and Saul returned to his house. Chapter 27. And David said in his heart, Now if I shall fall some day into the hands of Saul, it will not be good for me, but it is better for me that I should escape to the land of the Philistines. And Saul shall despair for seeking me any more in the territory of Israel, so I shall escape out of his hands. So David arose and went over, he and the 600 men who were with him, to Achish, the king of Maacah, king of Gath. 3. And David dwelt with Achish at Gath, he and his men, and the household of David, and his 2 wives, Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the Carmelitess, Nabal's wife. 4. And it was told Saul that David had fled to Gath, and he sought no more after him. 5. And David said to Achish, If I have now found grace in your eyes, let the people give me a place in one of the towns in the desert, that I may dwell there, so that your servant may not dwell in the royal city with you. 6. Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day. Therefore Ziklag belongs to the kings of Judah to this day. 7. And the time that David dwelt in the land of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months. 8. And David and his men went up and made raids upon the Geshurites and the Gadolites and the Amalekites, for these nations were of old inhabitants of the land. And they raided Geshur as far as the land of Egypt. 9. And David smote the land and left neither man nor woman alive, and he took away the sheep and the oxen and the asses and the camels and the apparel. Then David returned and came to Achish. 10. And Achish said to David, Where have you made your raid today? And David said, Against the south of Judah, and against the south of Jaram and against the south of Kalai. 11. And David spared neither man nor woman alive to bring tidings to Gath, saying, Lest they should tell on us, saying, Thus David has done, and such was his custom all the while he dwelt in the land of the Philistines. 12. And Achish believed David, saying, He has surely displeased his people Israel, therefore he has become my servant forever.